Hi guys, this is a reteaching video to go over how to divide fractions in word problems. I'm asking you to get your workbook because we are going to review the problems from yesterday, and this way you'll be able to see how you modeled the problems versus how I'm going to model them, and you can compare your answers to mine. One of the things that I think that some of you might be doing is not doing a model and trying to solve these problems either in your head or using a different strategy. The main strategy that we must be using for these types of problems is a visual strategy, whether it's a bar model, an area model, or a number line. Last week, we went over all three of them, so you can pick the one that you feel most comfortable with. And if you want to review those, you can just go visit the slides from last week. All right, so let's take a look at the first problem. Go ahead and turn to page 478. You can see the page numbers again in the corner up here. So this problem says Felipe has 1/4 of a pizza. He wants to share it equally with a friend. How much of the original pizza will each of them get? So you can see that this problem is 1/4 divided by 2. Why? Because we're starting with 1/4 of a pizza, and then we're fair sharing it with two people, Felipe and his friend. So to start, you're going to shade in and represent 1/4. So you can see how I did that here. Then you need to take this remaining pizza and fair share it. So you can see if I come in here and I draw that line, you can see that, well, now I have a piece for Felipe and a piece for his friend. And we want to know how much of the original pizza did each person get. So you can see that up here. How much did each of them get? Well, I need to take this line and extend it all the way across. So now you can see that this piece right here for Felipe represents 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Felipe is getting 1/8 of the original pizza. Again, the answer is not 2/8 because we don't want to know what this whole shaded part represents. We want to know how much did each person get. So Felipe got 1/8 of the original pizza, and his friend got 1/8 of the original pizza. Whenever we're doing a fraction divided by a whole number, our answer is going to be a fraction. And that fraction is going to represent one piece of your entire model. So now let's take a look at the next example. We're still on page 478. It says Angela uses 1/3 of her rectangular flower garden for roses. She plants equal rectangular areas of red, white, pink, and orange roses in this part of the garden. What fraction of the whole garden has red roses? So it says draw a model and write in a division equation to represent and solve this problem. So you can see that this piece right here represents 1/3 of the whole entire garden. And this piece here is going to be used for all of the roses. So the red, the white, the pink, and the orange roses are each going to get their own space within this green section of the garden. So you can see that I have to take 1/3, and I have to divide it by, so let me get the division symbol here. Divide right there. And we're doing 1/3 divided by 4. So let's talk about why it's 1/3 divided by 4. Because this 1/3 section is getting split up between the 4 colors. So we are going to have red, white, pink, and orange. So let me hit my line here and let's start to separate our garden. And just like before, I'm going to draw my lines all the way across because I want to have equal spaces all the way through. Whoops, sorry about that. Let me get this line here and put it right up there. So now you can see that I have cut this green piece right here. I've cut it into, to the best of my ability, 4 equal sections. This part here will be for the red. This will be for the white. This will be for the pink. And then this will be for the orange. So we want to know if this is the red roses right here, what does that represent out of the whole entire garden? So you can see that this piece, this one piece, again, because we are doing a fraction divided by a whole number, so our answer is going to be a fraction. This one piece here for the red roses is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So your answer here is 1/12. Again, your answer is 1/12 because this red section for the roses represents one piece out of the 12 equal sections. All right, next example. Go ahead and flip to page 480. So this problem says student volunteers are getting ready to hand out programs at a talent show. Leah and Thomas are each given half of a stack of programs to hand out. Leah divides her half equally among her 2 friends. What fraction of the original stack do Leah and her 2 friends each have? So this whole entire rectangle represents all of the programs. The green part here represents Leah, and the white part represents what Thomas has. Now, Leah wants some help handing out her program. So if you think about it, she's starting out with 1/2 of the stack, right? And she's going to hand out some, but she's also splitting it with 2 of her friends. So when you count that out, it's Leah plus 2 friends. So she's actually dividing it by 3. So it's really important that you read slowly and you think about what's going on in the problem and you visually try and create that movie in your mind to represent what's happening. So now we know that this half stack, some Leah's going to hand out, some another friend and another friend are going to hand out. So they're going to help her. And our job is to figure out, well, what fraction of the entire original stack is each person getting? So again, I'm starting with a fraction here, and I'm dividing it by a whole number, which means that each person, if I'm starting with a half and they're sharing it, they're going to get a piece smaller than what I'm starting with. So I go up, I grab my line here, and I'm going to cut it, again, to the best of my ability right here. And I have to make 3 equal parts. So you can see here's Leah's part, here's friend number 1's part, and friend number 2's part. Now, some of you are putting an answer of 3/6. 3/6 is not correct because, first of all, 3/6 is the same as 1/2, and each friend isn't handing out a half. Each friend is handing out one of these rectangles, one piece. So if this top rectangle represents what Leah is handing out, she's handing out one piece out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts. So you can see that Leah is handing out 1/6. All right, so we have 2 more problems to look at. Let's go ahead and flip to page 484. So this problem is different than the first 3 that we looked at. Stacy has 4 sheets of paper to cut. Each card requires half a sheet of paper. How many cards can Stacy make? Now, in the other problems, we were starting off with a piece of something. A piece of pizza, a part of our garden, part of the programs for the talent show. But in this case, we're not starting off with half a sheet of paper. We're starting off with 4 sheets of paper. So for this problem, I'm starting off with 4 holes, And I'm dividing those 4 holes. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to divide those 4 holes into halves. And your job is to figure out, well, how many half-size pieces can I make? When I'm starting with a whole number and I'm dividing it by a fraction, my answer wants to know how many pieces can I make. So you're going to get a whole number answer. And I know that that can be kind of confusing for you, and that's why drawing the models is really helpful. So Stacy was cutting each of these pieces of paper in half. So if I draw this line right here, you can see that each of those papers were cut in half. Let me change the color and make it a little bigger so you can see. So this piece here is for a card, and this is for a card. These 2 pieces are for a card, another card, and finally a card and a card. So when it says how many cards can Stacy make, well, you have to count the pieces. Stacy can make 8 cards using half-sized pieces. So in this case, you're trying to figure out how many pieces you have. All right, almost done. We're going to look at one more problem. And the next problem is about hoagies. In this case, they say submarine sandwiches in the problem. So still on page 484, and it says, Dylan makes 3 submarine sandwiches. He cuts the sandwich into 6 to share. He stacks all the sandwich pieces on a plate, and we want to know how many pieces does Dylan stack on the plate. So again, this problem is very similar to the paper problem because I'm not starting off with pieces of hoagie. I'm starting off with 3 hoagies. And I'm being asked to figure out, well, how many pieces total can we make? And since right here it says he's cutting them into 6, that means that he has to take 3 holes and divide it into 1/6 size pieces. And again, we're trying to figure out, well, how many total pieces can Dylan make? So I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to have to cut each of these hoagies into 6 pieces. So I'm going to get my line, and let's see. I have 1 cut. Okay, let me change the color of that so maybe you can see it a little bit better. And then, all right, so here you can see that on this I have 1, 2, 3 pieces. And then I need to do the same thing on the other side. So you can see that this first hoagie, I have 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6. 6, 6 makes a hole, so you can see that each of these little pieces there are cut into 6. So now I'm going to duplicate this onto my other hoagies. So then you can see that I cut this one also into 6 equal pieces. And again, this last one I cut into 6 equal pieces. The problem wants to know not the value of each piece, because we already know that the value of each piece, if you got this right here, you were getting 1/6 of a hoagie. We want to know how many pieces total did he make. So if this first hoagie has 6 pieces, this one has 6 pieces, and this one has 6 pieces, well, I know that 3 times 6 is 18 6th-sized pieces of hoagie. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit better after going over these questions with me. At this time, I would like for you to look back over your answers one more time, and then I would like for you to send me an email to respond to how you feel about going over these problems with me. Do you feel better about the lesson? Do you still have some questions? And if you do have questions, I need you to tell me specifically what you're unsure about or where you're making your mistake, because that's going to help me to figure out how to help you. All right, guys, looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.